We approach this weathered parchment as a finished record. We see ancient calligraphy and historical ink, marking the lives of prophets and the movements of tribes. Inside the text, these figures operate as a living schematic. They map an internal memory structure, a series of topological coordinates that the human soul traverses. This map originates in the split between Adam's two sons. One chooses surrender, the other chooses competition. This event established two opposing states of being that remain active in every human circuit. These are not characters from a distant era. They are the names for the specific internal positions you occupy right now. Two houses pull at the soul. The first is defined by Azar, the father of pride. He worships what he physically builds, identifying his worth with his own material creations. The second is defined by Noah, the father of surrender. He operates by building a vessel of gratitude, following instructions from a source outside his own ego. When the flood rises, Noah's biological son chooses a physical mountain for safety over his father's wooden vessel. The water consumes him. Family blood provides no buoyancy in this system. The same break occurs in Azar's house. His son, Ibrahim, looks at his father's idols and rejects the material authority they represent. He leaves the bloodline behind to find the source. In both archetypes, the surrendered and the proud, the physical lineage fails to carry the signal. Survival depends on an orientation that blood and genetics cannot transmit. This orientation is tested when Ibrahim is thrown into a fire built by his father's society. This is the pressure of the material world attempting to consume the node of surrender. Verse 2169 records this transition. As heat hits, the fire splits into two states. The first path follows standard combustion, consuming the arrogance of Pharaoh. The second path transforms at the divine command, becoming a protective, cool shelter for the surrendered node. The pressures of the world identify the internal structure of the person. Arrogance is consumed, surrender is structurally preserved. To bypass the decay of physical families, a different lineage is established. It begins with Zachariah, who receives an heir with an unprecedented name, Yahya. Yahya carries a code rather than a kingdom. He represents a shift from biological inheritance to a lineage based on holding a specific signal. Verse 1912 provides the activation command, "Take the book with strength." This torque locks the reader to the preserved source, activating the recovery mechanism. This grip outlasts material power. King Solomon sat on a throne of gold and commanded the unseen, yet his reign ended when a termite ate through the wooden staff supporting his body. The workers beneath him didn't realize he had died until the wood snapped. Even the most powerful material throne is supported by matter that eventually rots. The book lineage is the only chain that survives this decay. It is built by those who anchor their existence in the code, rather than in matter. When the grip is released, the system produces a warning state. Verse 1092 describes Pharaoh preserved in body, but void of life, a form without function, existing in a state neither dead nor alive. He remains an artifact, floating in the material waters he claimed to own, held in time as a sign of what happens when the memory of home is lost. Viewing this schematic as a historical curiosity turns the reader into a museum piece. The text only functions as a living system when it is executed. The Tesseract places the reader at the center. You stand between the house of pride and the house of surrender, where the ancestral stories are currently repeating. Two doors are open. You can occupy the position of the first disbeliever, described in verse 241, or align with those who submit. Every lost node in this chain returns as a stronger link when the reader recognizes their own position within the field. The schematic is active. The coordinates are set. When will you activate 1912?